day 2 of NI Week from beautiful Austin, Texas. Joining me once again is Miles Budimir, our senior editor who covers motion control, and Natasha Townsend, our associate editor who covers electrical engineering. So we start off today with a great keynote, as always, here at NI Week. Jeff Kadowski, who is the co-founder of National Instruments, talked a little bit about how in the early 80s, as they came up with the idea for what's now LabVIEW, the Macintosh revolution sort of, I would say, it inspired him. I think the way he put it was, he said it made clear to him that graphical panels would make software modules a lot more intuitive to operate and to build. So that was just kind of interesting to hear a little bit of the genesis, if you will, of what has turned into LabVIEW. A lot of good application stories today too that we heard about. One really interesting one was Cirrus. It's a solar company in Singapore, and what they do is they have these every 5 kilometers, I think they said, across this island nation of Singapore, they have these weather stations that are, they use the CompactRIO system, and what they do is they're trying to look out on kind of a few minute horizon as well as a several hour horizon to see what cloud formations are coming, what's going to happen weather-wise, so they can very accurately predict down the road what the photovoltaic solar energy generation will be. The reason for that being, they've got these people over at the old fossil fuel burning plants, and they need to know whether to ramp up production or ramp it down a little bit, so they'll have the most efficient use of the combination between the fossil fuel and the renewable fuel. So that was one interesting thing. We also heard about a neat application with a ship that goes out to these offshore wind turbines. You can imagine, out on the rough seas, and you've got to get off the ship onto this ladder to climb up to maintain the wind turbine. So they use LabVIEW to do the computations. As the waves are rocking the boat to and fro, there's a feedback system goes through LabVIEW, and it actually works with the hydraulic cylinders, and it actuates this gangplank to steady it as they approach the wind turbine. So I thought that was a pretty interesting application as well. What, Miles, tell us a little bit about what you thought was interesting today, or what you came away with.
Sure. Well, I mean, there was as on day one too. There were a lot of good technical innovations and products and things like that. But what I really came away with was I went to a session about talking about National Instruments Planet NI,
That's right, yeah.
which was founded, I believe, in about 2010. Which is just a great program. Basically, their mission statement or their goal is to nurture innovation and entrepreneurship in developing nations such as China, India, Pakistan, the African continent, Latin America, and basically, I mean, those nations really have some big obstacles. For one is cost. For one is access to markets, and they really kind of trumpet this idea of engineering having a social responsibility, so they're doing some wonderful things. They're helping out schools and colleges. They're helping out small businesses, small and medium businesses, and also local people that live in these nations and in these countries, in these villages, who know exactly what is needed, right? Because oftentimes you get, so-called, first world people going and saying, well, this is what needs to be done. This is people who live there and who know what the needs of those people are. So they're basically helping them by providing access to NI technology, to NI LabVIEW, CompactRIO systems, et cetera, for them to build their own systems. So some of the applications they're working on are smart farms, things like smart farms, energy use, smart grid technology, very like localized microgrids, right? There was one fellow from India, actually, who is working on this microgrid technology. And some of us may have seen photos of power systems in India, which is one pole and you've got like 5 billion wires going to it and from it, right? So this is trying to basically deal with some of those issues. And one of the stories that really that really spoke to me anyway, was a guy named Talha Manzoor from Lahore University in Pakistan. And he was working on a landmine detecting robot in Pakistan, with the help of NI as well. But what really struck me about that is how they went about building this robot. A large part of the prototype and the final robot was built using parts that were salvaged from scrapyards, right? So these are people that are building prototype systems from salvaged parts. So they were going through scrapyards looking for sensors, any kind of sensors. They used motors from power windows from cars,
okay.
and they basically reused them in this robot system. So for some social good, So I think it's a wonderful program. It's called Planet NI again. So that was one of the stories that really kind of moved me today and inspired me too as well. So
Nice.
Yep.
Natasha, I think you were going to talk a little bit about that. We also heard at going back to the keynote this morning, we heard about some interesting mobile applications, and I think the quote I had written down was that LabVIEW is the most touch-ready language on the planet. So maybe you could jump off on that a little bit.
Sure. Well, based upon our keynote from today and yesterday, and how the mobile technology all over the country has expounded exponentially, LabVIEW and NI have come together and have made mobile technology available for application devices. So, they have apps ready for devices, mobile devices, such as smartphones and tablets, and they can be used for measurement and controls. So like the solar panels that Paul discussed in Singapore, they can be read remotely, and the wind turbines out in the oceans can be read remotely in real time using FPGA technology. With this app, users can create a custom and portable view through Data Dashboard. They can wirelessly take voltage measurements. They can access device pinouts for NI's DAQ hardware. DAQ is data acquisition hardware. They can view a beginner's guide. They can examine and understand common electrical circuits with Multisim Circuit Explorer and service contracts with NI support. Now, we did see an example of how easy the interface is, easy to use this morning. And that was Jeff Kay who showed us how easy it was, really easy to use. And he used the analogy of Angry Birds. But he showed us how you can move components while the compiler adjusts the wires and the nodes, making the schematic fit within the screen's window and clearly visible for designers. So it's no more overlapping of the wires and the nodes are easily connected, because at one end of the node it looks like an outlet, and at the other end it looks like a plug, so you can tell when you're plugging it into the node correctly. So it is really great technology. It can help all the users and designers when they are making these different devices using CompactRIO. And because CompactRIO has interchangeable modules, users can create their own design and their own systems to their own specifications. It's really been a great expo. Day 2, really great. Looking forward to day 3.
And I should mention that last demonstration that you just talked about, that was something that it's not available yet, but it is something that they were kind of giving us a preview of what's coming in the future. So a lot to look forward to. And a lot to look forward to on day 3 as well. Yep. We will be back here again tomorrow to give you an update on what we hear and what we see, and all the scuttlebutt on day 3, the final day of NI Week. Once again, Paul Heney here with Miles Budimir and Natasha Townsend. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.